Welcome back, Smol Cast. Number 3. 3 weeks going on Smol Cast now. We're here with a very special guest, Skoczek. Welcome, Skoczek.
Hello, everyone.
And of course, Pinky is here as well. Hi, Pinky.
Yo.
He's here. Welcome back, Smol Cast. I'm kind of hoping that the Smol Cast magic will do its thing again this week. I'm thinking sub 30 red heart.
Sub 30 red heart. You fucking hear that, Meeps? Oh man. Sub 30 red heart. In what fucking dimension?
Not to put the pressure on Meeps, but good luck.
Oh man.
Here,
He's working on it, okay?
If we can get AO down to 9.2, we can get red heart to sub 30.
I don't know.
I'm just being advantageous, okay? It's important to dream hard and die hard too.
Maybe let's take it one step at a time.
Yeah, I'm gonna
sub 1 minute maybe.
Yeah, sub 1 minute is definitely a thing. It's already close.
Sub 60 will happen. So now that Spirit.com is dead, we're gonna have a bit of a it's just what a crappy website. Why did we ditch the spreadsheet? Whose idea was that?
I don't like looking at Google.
Okay, fair enough to be honest. 60 hours of total runtime. That's a lot of runtime.
Considering how short the runs are, yeah.
That's only the submitted runs, and each of those 10 seconds runs took like hundreds of hours to make.
Thanks to we just had the quickest turnaround of someone joining the server and then getting into Smol Cast ever. So obviously the big news since the last Smol Cast is AO going sub 10 all the way down to 9.2 by yours truly, Skoczek. Did it? Well, obviously we know it took some time. Right, we saw that it took you a little bit of time since we discovered the super bounce. How stressful was doing the 2 super bounces? Were there any rage moments?
Yeah, getting the 2 super bounces. Honestly, I was not prepared for that to happen anytime soon. Actually, I was fully prepared to make this a grind that will take 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
So
I thought it was gonna be like, okay, 2 super bounces, but also insta diagonal on top of that. I thought would take literal months of grinding, and then you just do it.
Oh yes, exactly. 9.5, sure, but 9.2, I don't think I would even attempt it for a long while. If I would just get 9.5, I think I would just leave it at that and get back to it much later.
When the 9.2 happened, I thought that was probably the craziest thing that's ever happened in the game so far. And what's even crazier is that we know it can go lower. Like, we think 9.1 probably possible. And
yes, it looks like some optimization is left there.
But not sub 9 yet, sadly.
It'll come in good time.
Yeah, we need the task team to find something. We're getting there slowly.
Yeah, task team, aka Yaksha is making great progress. He's flying. This guy like speedrun programming, and then just speedrun creating a task tool.
Yeah, TAS was such a dream for like the longest time. I never thought we would have anything even remotely close to it for literal years, if ever at all. So I'm pretty surprised with how much we've gotten in such a short time in the last few weeks, thanks to Shiro and everything he's done with it.
Yes, that's some dedication there.
Experience.com is working. Ah, cool. So just before you got your super bounce and all this, you went and got 10.5, which was a huge deal at the time. How long did the grind for 10.5 take to take the record back off Pinky?
Well, I started immediately after I learned that I lost the record, and I don't know. I grinded for maybe two hours every day. So I think it was like 3 days or 4. Of grinding every day, basically.
Are we talking about the first 10.5?
Yeah.
Yes, probably.
Okay.
That's how I understood it. Because recently I also made a second one.
Okay,
It
yeah.
improved
So
it.
I know Skoczek was always going for 10.5 eventually, but he wasn't going for it for a long time until I took world record, and then he got 10.5 after 2 days.
$10.5 is pretty hype though.
Yeah, 10.5 was the goal for a long time. And then, we found out that like 10.4 is possible, and then we were going to keep going like from there. And then one day, Skoczek decides to just do a super bounce from 4, and then we realize that we've been doing it wrong this whole time. But shoutouts to Psycho for finding out how to do super bounce almost immediately. Because I don't know how you just immediately knew how to do it. Like, I don't get it. That's so crazy to me.
Yes, that was huge. I immediately thought that this would be like one of the forever unsolved mysteries, like Eli's super slide.
Yeah, like you posted it, and then he's within like a couple minutes, he's like, "This is how you do it," and you're like, "It works." And that was a really huge discovery. Obviously, the only thing that's really been pushed so far is AO. That's really big for AO. I still think we'll find a lot of places to use it in the rest of the game, but hasn't really happened yet. It'll take time.
Yeah, a lot of thinking outside the box is going to be needed to branch into new stages.
It is a little situational in a sense that it only can get you up directly. Imagine what it would be if it worked, if it's stacked on a Papa Bounce, for example.
Okay, technically we were doing it wrong, Shiro, because before it was boosted bounce, which is you jump after you ground pound. So like right after you bounce, like the first frame, you jump, and then it gives you like a little boost of height, which is nothing compared to super bounce. But super bounce is you jump and GP the frame before you touch the ground, and then it gives you like a GP that's like twice as high, which I think is completely different and drastically better.
Yes, boosted bounce is only a tiny little boost. It's like as if you only jumped for 1 frame.
I think the crazy thing though is that you already did it before, without knowing that you did it.
Yes, that
And
12.0.
yeah, that 12.0, and we didn't notice until you did it on that 4 because we're like, okay, there's something wrong with that. There's no way, like that was not a boosted bounce.
Yeah, back then we were like, yeah, boosted bounce. Obviously,
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know why the animation
You thought
didn't
it was
play,
the
but
elevator pushing you up. Yeah.
I don't know why the jump animation didn't play. But who cares? Sometimes it happens, I guess. But it was completely different thing.
No, Kevin has not revealed his sex doll yet.
Yeah, I hope he does that someday.
It'll be soon. So, Sko, you, after Cycle Skip was discovered, you went and you kind of dominated Cycle Skip. How long did it take for you to figure that to make it feel that you were consistent at Cycle Skip enough to say that Cycle Skip is not my trick, but is the trick that you're probably most proficient at and allowed you to dominate AO at the time?
It's the difficult one. I don't think I have ever got that kind of confidence with Cycle Skip, honestly. It's just hard. It took me a while to figure out the details that I wrote in the guide that now we are passing on to the new generations
Are you kind of
as
glad?
our technique. But initially it was I was just blindly trying different things and trying to figure out what works. And yeah, I did get obviously I did get some more consistency over time, but I don't remember like a clear like paradigm shift. It's more like a constant progression. I think there was a clear boundary where I stopped not knowing what I'm doing and started knowing what I'm doing.
Are you kind of glad that Super Bounce was found, so you didn't have to squeeze Cycle Skip to its absolute limits?
Yeah, I'm actually that's a bit of a shame though. 10.4 was a lot of hype as well, and now it's quite pointless.
Yeah, we never got 10.4. It was different when we switched from only insta diagonal to cycle skip because at least it probably wasn't going to get any lower than 12.2 with insta diagonal anyway.
Yes, exactly.
For that, we were actually just squeezing out like a few milliseconds, and sure, we could have pushed it a little bit for a while maybe, but I think we would have reached a point where it wasn't going to get any better, like pretty fast.
Where it wasn't going to get any faster than this?
Unironically, yes.
Yes, that's true. But in this case, there was still just that last one last goal to achieve.
Yeah. Cycle Skip had a lot of potential, and well, we only thought it could get to 10.4, and you did get 10.5 at least. So there was only 100 milliseconds left to get out of the way. But now with Cycle Skip, or whatever you want to call it, with 9.2 already being done, it definitely makes doing that obsolete.
Yes, and I'm quite sure actually that making at least something like a 10.1 with single super bounce is much easier than even doing like a 10.7. 10.7 without insta-diagonal is very hard.
Okay, but I thought with the insta-diagonal, I was like, insta-diagonal?
Yeah, I mean, with insta-diagonal, you only have to get a 10.9. So it's actually pretty easy to get a 10.7 with an insta-diagonal if you're on a 10.9 pace, but...
For a low 10.7. For a high 10.7, you literally just need cycle skip.
Yeah.
Even an 11.
Yeah, I've never gotten a 10.7 without insta-diagonal. I think that's insane. I don't know how you and Pangu do that. And I think Rice did it as well. I can't remember.
Have you not done that before? At least once or twice?
No.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The lowest I've ever gotten without insta-diagonal is 10.802. So I was close to 10.7, but I never got 10.7. And then, like, right before we discovered, like, super bounces and stuff, like, with Skoczek discovered 10.4 as possible because he was getting, like, these mid 10.7s without insta-diagonal, which was insane because of his setup from 3 to 4.
At least I hope that this setup was the reason behind it.
I think
Honestly,
it
I'm
was.
still not perfectly confident.
I mean, you were getting those mid 10.7s pretty consistently, and I've never gotten a 10.7, and I've probably done cycle skip more than anyone. So clearly, you were doing something differently that I was not doing, and I think that was it because we talked about that a lot. And I could never really do that setup, but we were talking about how we probably do it sometimes unintentionally before anyway, and that's probably like what most of our good runs are.
Yes, there seems to be something in it at least, but I wonder if it's exactly what I'm saying or if I just also unintentionally sometimes get it right if I just try to do this setup. But maybe it's actually about something different.
Well, Yaksha has said that he will do a 10.4 once he gets the task finished, so we can test that to see if the different strats.
Even though cycle skip is not the best anymore, I've still been doing it on my failed SB runs when I get sent towards 4 if I insta on 3, and I've managed to get 10.8s with that, so I might get a 10.5 still like that eventually anyway, just on my throwaway runs, which would be cool. I kind of get something to do while I'm also grinding cycle skip as well, because if I was only doing that, it's really hard and tedious and boring, and
At least you're finishing some runs.
yeah, so I get to do that on the side sometimes.
So
I guess once you get more of those super bounces, then you might want to stop doing that because I noticed that it's better to go right after that first super bounce.
Yeah,
I never
I'm
got
trying
it
to go right.
going to that.
I'm trying to go
okay.
right. Like my first SB really caught me off guard, but I was going right. And,
yeah, you were. I remember.
And then I needed to go left very quickly, and I couldn't react in time because I spent, I don't know, probably an entire week doing that just to get it one time. Hopefully I'll be able to react quickly enough next time, but we'll see.
So Sko, you've ever since Cycleskip definitely been dominating in AO. What has it been like to dominate in the most run category, AO any percent? Being the poster boy nearly.
Well, I always liked the category the most as well because it's short and I really enjoyed this very high level play that was more approachable on a shorter stage because doing those kind of tricks on some harder and longer stages, while possible it's not that approachable. On AO you can go a bit more crazy with the strats, so I think that's why I always liked it. And obviously I was always proud of being at the top there.
I had a follow-up question, but I forgot what it was. Oh yeah, so you kind of already answered my my next question, which was why do you like to run AO? And it's short, you can throw more at it and try different strats easier because if it's shorter length compared to the longer stages, which are more precise. But
yes, and you can also see a tendency in other categories that I've been running a bit more than others. I mean, I used to be running only AO, but today I've had even a few world records on other stages, and they are all the ones that are the shortest.
So obviously your main breakaway at the moment, Inamori, holding a world record there. Plans to continue working on Inamori, or are you just going to wait until someone else takes it off you?
Inumore definitely there is some work to be done there, but I am a bit more interested in the stages where I don't currently have a world record, especially in those where I used to have it, and I would like it back.
AOR and Pekoland then.
Yes, basically those two mostly. I also had TTM at one time, but this was the old TTM, and it's no longer my stage at this point.
Would you ever consider playing Inescapable Madness? Because it's around the same time as Pekoland.
Yeah, I already played it a bit. I have a time submitted, not very good one, but I think I got the beginning quite well. But I couldn't learn how to do the ending, and I think I only was running it for one day though. But that's a good idea. I think that will be one of the next goals.
So that was one of the questions I had was if you were ever going to play any other stages, because you mostly just play those four, like AO, AOR, Pekoland, and Inumori. And you've kind of explained why already, but does that mean that you'll never be interested in playing anything like RH, POR, or nothing? Like you would just never even consider playing those because they're too long?
Yeah, honestly, there are a few more problems with those stages than just their length. Honestly, I don't like the jank mechanics of pop on rocks and nothing platforms, where the platforms will just yeet you into space if you just try to land on them. I hate Red Heart. I think you may have noticed already.
Yeah, that's understandable. I think it's been really rough for Red Heart, being the longest stage in the game, but it obviously has a lot of potential to be lowered.
Yeah, so I think for at least for now, as I can see it, playing those stages would probably only be to practice some more consistent ways to play them for full game runs. I don't think I would grind them as ILs.
Oh yeah, and I forgot one. Mogu Mogu as well. I'm assuming you wouldn't want to play. Mogu Mogu looks pretty crazy.
Yeah, Mogu Mogu is long. It's quite long, but it's I don't dislike it as much as those other stages. So that would be that's more. There's a little bit more potential there.
Well, if you were to take AOR, Pekkaland, and Escape of Madness, would you not go for the last happy any % record and go for Poppin' Rocks?
That's an interesting idea. I think I would pass on that. I think Poppin' Rocks is one of the craziest reward records in the game.
I also think it just happened to line up like that. Like, Happy just kind of happened to go for all of Skoczek's records, kind of. But I don't think Skoczek would ever play POR.
Yeah, no.
And
that Poppin' Rocks record is so... It isn't absolutely perfect, but it's as close as we're going to get for a long time.
Yeah, I know that No has been grinding POR any % a lot recently.
I really hope he gets
He's been trying to get Instant Mom at all, and it's incredibly hard. So
yeah, can't even get on that cycle. I played POR a bit, but I was only playing it on the slower cycle. I can do that funny skip in the middle.
It's pretty hard to believe that Happy got POR any % world record the same day he came back, and it was also with Instant Mom. Like, that's insane.
I really hope he does it. I so want to see.
Yeah, I think No can do it. I think No can do it if he keeps going. So I hope he keeps going.
Yes, will be very great.
Happy % beat all happy world records.
Yeah, it seems that my interest in stages lines up a little bit with Happy, but Poppin' Rocks is not the one, I think.
Well, notably, you do any % runs, and you don't really do Bulba % or case closed. Is there any chance of a bit of a spillover?
Yeah, I just feel like that would be an effort spent somewhere outside of any % where there's still a lot to do in any %. So I think that's more any % is more important. That's how I feel about it. So I think I would only go for Boba % in case close once I don't want to do anything else in any %, and that's not gonna be soon probably.
I feel the same way. I had a bit of a drought for grinding any %, so I played Bubba % a little bit, but that was it. I definitely am only going to focus on any %. for the most part, especially now. I have to grind a lot now to get sub 10 eventually.
Yeah, I've been working on a few bubble percent categories just to, widen my my own profile page to fill in the gaps. But I don't think I'll be going to case close anytime soon. Case close is a lot harder than most people think.
Yes, huge props for Green Noob for being the first one to run full game case closed.
Oh god.
Yeah, I remember when Scurvy fell asleep
It was at the end of
verifying that run.
End of Inamori, and I woke up at the start of Mogo Mogo. It was a 3-hour run?
It was like 2.5. I think it was almost 3, maybe. It was definitely over 2.
It was a world record. So since
Not for long, but yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Since you like your any percent full game runs, perhaps?
Sorry, what's the question?
Will you be doing any full game any percent runs? Or are you just gonna stick to ILs?
Yeah, I am a bit working towards that, I think, but yeah, the main issue with full game runs for me, I think, is well, maybe not the main one, because the main would be that it's much longer than a 10-second stage. But also a big problem is that I would have to play Red Heart in it. And pop on rocks and nothing.
He's just Red Heart. Oh.
So yeah, that'd be a really cool achievement, but I hate Red Heart so much I just don't want to do it.
Yeah, no, I feel you though. The only reason I'd consider doing full game any percent is because the whole point that it's not just an IL. Like if you're doing the IL, then it's an extreme amount of work to get a good time any percent in any of the ILs. But if you're doing full game, you don't have to be like insanely perfect like you do in ILs. You just have to be like relatively good. Like
yes, that's a completely different playstyle and different mindset that you need to have for those runs. So that is also something interesting to explore. I don't really know much about that. I never. I mean, I did run a bit of full game runs. I also casually speedrun some other games as well. Never getting any good time, but I did a couple of runs at least of Celeste and The Witness.
Celeste, oh my god.
That was even before Smol Ame. In fact, I was in the middle of playing The Witness when Smol Ame happened, and
you knew what you had to do.
And The Witness had to go witness something else.
I'm really thankful for Smol Ame being such a easy game to get into and start speedrunning immediately. Makes it really nice for a lot of people to come in and just start playing. Like you don't have to have speedrun anything else before or anything. And you can learn how to play the game like relatively quickly and get some decent times. But obviously you have to put in a lot of time and effort to actually get like really good. But I just think the entry level into the game is really nice. It's a really nice thing about the game. I'm super glad that Kevin put in a timer that did wonders for the game, and it's a big reason that we have such a big Discord today and everything.
But I think, like most people, well, I did it. I'm pretty sure everyone else did it as well. They played the web version before they even downloaded it. I think most people went straight to the web version. And then
see, that's something I didn't do. But I see what
I
you
also
mean.
didn't do that.
Because it's on web and download, it's easy to play a game that you don't even have to download, right? It's like, oh yeah, I can at least try playing this game. So
that's exactly.
And then you want to just play it more, and then you download it.
That's exactly how it went for me. Played it on web.
Yeah, you know, unless you're happy, and then you play on browser forever as a meme.
What's the download button? Speaking of Kevin and the development of the game, new Iris stage, by the looks of it, with some fancy gravity mechanics that are totally going to get broken.
It's TTM all over again.
If it's a short stage, Sko, do you plan to run it, or is it because it's gravity that you'll steer clear?
I'm afraid that's the first time I hear about it.
Oh, okay. It's so obviously Iris is half angel, half demon, or whatever. So there's going to be a white side, a black side, and you can jump in between them. But it seems to just uses funky gravity to do it. So similar to TTM. So I'm not quite sure how you feel about TTM gravity mechanics at the moment.
Yeah, gravity is very cool, and TTM is also cool. I would like to also try that in the future. I mean, I've been trying it a little bit, but I could never learn the new skip. But yeah, it's also pretty short, so also my kind of level. I guess we'll see. I'm definitely interested in seeing how much you can break the new level with super bounces.
Super bounces. How much do you think super bounces are going to influence speedrunning across the entire game? Do you see nearly every single category having a change, or just the odd few?
Yeah, well, as I mentioned also earlier, it is a little bit situational, in a sense that it only allows you to move directly upwards. So, and most of the stages are more horizontal in nature than vertical. So there are actually not that many places in the game where you would want to go up by a big height. On Pekoland, I don't see any place
might be useful
where that's useful. Maybe CC.
Yeah, CC maybe, but
also in Umore you can collect that Baba coin without using a bat, but that's only useful for CC, I believe, at least from what I've heard.
And also, quick side note, it appears everyone else has directly downloaded the game and never played web version. So I guess I am once again being a lemon and being awkward.
I know a couple people that used to play on web. Meeps used to play on web version. He did that for a while, I think.
Meeps is a god.
Yeah, well, I mean, he also used to play it only 60 FPS for like the longest time, so.
And he cycle skipped.
Props to him. I don't know how you do that shit.
So, at the moment, Sko, what stage are you focusing on? What is, if you're willing to tell us, what stage are you targeting?
Yeah, well, if you've seen me on chat today, then you might have already noticed. But I really want that AOR to go down. I think Happy basically grinded down the current road as low as it can possibly get. Almost. It literally can't get much faster than this. But there are a few ideas left to explore on how to make it better with a little bit different road.
Do you plan to sprinkle a few super bounces in there? I don't think
I don't
any-
No,
think there's
I-
anywhere to really do
Yeah,
it
there's
in
nowhere-
AOR.
there's nowhere to
like-
really do it there.
It's the complete opposite of AO, and you only need it to go up so you can get to the second half. And you don't need to do that in this because you're going down, so it just doesn't matter at all. I don't think it would help the skip any. I don't think you can even do the skip with it.
Yeah, the
So
only
it's
the only thing, the only place where I see it being anything useful is to get to a plane earlier, but we don't get to the plane on any percent.
You could try using it to go up from the corkboard up to the first bookshelf, but I'm pretty sure the route we have at the moment would probably be quicker.
From the cork board. The cork board is not bouncy though.
Oh yeah, it's not. Yeah, good point.
Yeah, irrelevant.
Relevant.
Irrelevant. Something funny I want to point out with AOR, kind of. Well, I guess it's not like that big of a thing right now, but it's kind of following in the footsteps of AO, because AO started at 15 seconds and then it got down to 12 pretty quickly. And that's the same thing that happened with AOR. Like, it was 15 and then now it's 12. And it's also
12.2.
ironic because it's at 12.2, which is
Black
what
Rose
it
is
was
down.
at before we discovered like cycle skip, you know?
So potential for a cycle skip in AOR and then super bounce.
So sub 11 soon.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about AOR though, is it already has like cycle skips, right? Like, you're already doing what, like
Yeah, we understand it too
two
well.
cycle skips in AOR already just to get 12.
Yeah, we understand the game too well now compared to when AO first came out. So it's more just coincidence that it was 15 to 12.
Yeah, well, I mean, we also had a huge setback when we had to go from old physics to new physics because it was just a completely different game. We had to figure out how to do it all over again. Because we were already 12.2 in old physics, and then the new physics came out, and I don't think we got 12.2 again for like 2 months.
So
I don't remember exactly how long that was, but yeah, initially we were struggling to even get to 12.5.
Yeah, we spent the first week in new physics just figuring out how to play again because we had to change the route because you couldn't rise walk anymore, or so we thought. And then you had to use diagonal to GP off of instead because BBs were so different. So doing an aerial BB on diagonal was a lot better than what we were doing before, at least with the new physics.
thinking back, Sko, to old physics, which I believe you did play, as far as I'm aware. Everyone's going to tell me I'm
Yes,
wrong.
yes.
Yeah. Do you prefer new physics now, or would you rather go back to the older physics?
Yes, by far the new physics are better. Much better. I think initially when the new physics came out, I was also one of the people that felt like a bit like we lost something important in the game, but looking back after all these months, there is nothing in old physics that was better. Honestly, probably. Or I mean, there was at least some cool thing about tilt is that you had more control over the angle of your bubble bounce, which made speedrunning a bit deeper, maybe. But
when you could even tilt.
a bit deeper because more variation to it, but it's already pretty damn deep, and it took us into the 6-month anniversary of the game, and we are still here, still running.
I think taking away the variable of making BBs be different speeds depending on how good your angle was or not made things a lot better, because now everything is consistent. So now you just have to do everything perfectly and not have to worry about getting some stupid angle and hoping that you get a good BB.
Yeah, imagine if you were teaching a newbie how to do BBs, which was difficult enough, and then telling them, well, actually, here's how to do them well, because yours are bad. So get good.
Yeah, Rice said the first 12.5 in new physics took 5 days. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised.
Bad.
I mean, when the new physics came out, I couldn't even get like sub 13. I'm like, how the fuck do you play this game? Like,
if you go back now that all the runs are on Spearn.com, if you go to that new physics page and look at the obsolete runs, you can see some not so delightful times from people that you would have thought that would have been top players. Like the likes of 13 seconds where they just don't belong.
Yeah, I was joking with Skoczek about this the other day, saying we were all idiots for wanting tilting in the game still, and I'm really glad that Kevin didn't listen to us and didn't put it back in the game, because the game is so much better now without it. I think the old physics are honestly really terrible, and if anybody who thought they were good, you can go back and play it again. I'm sure you're gonna change your minds. I mean, I still love like the old versions of the game, like they're a huge part of history. But I'm definitely glad that that's not what we stuck with, and that's not what it is today.
I think most people just wanted the old physics at the time because it's what we were used to.
Well, I was saying that it's just because people don't like change, and it was such a big change, like nobody wanted it to happen, because we had the game for almost a month already. Yeah, believe it or not, we only had old physics for 3 weeks, you guys. It wasn't even a month.
I still don't believe you.
But that's still a while, like, for us to be playing the same way the entire time, that whole time, and then suddenly it's just completely different.
Strangely, Kevin knew exactly what he was doing, and he was just a god about the whole situation.
Honestly, I don't know. Like, Kevin always says he doesn't know what he's doing, but he definitely made the right choice, and it just happened to work so perfectly. It made the game like so deep and insanely good. Like, who thought we would get cycle skip or like cycle skip or like any of the shit we have today just because of the new physics and changing it, changing the BB to be an actual mechanic from just being the tilt. It was such a drastic change, and it's just made the game so much better overall, and I think it's made the game like really deep, and we're going to be doing this for a long time.
The new physics are absolutely perfect. It's brilliant for just casual play. But like we've seen Gura play it, and like she was the best at playing the game. and she had fun playing it, and we all had fun watching her. So that says something for the casual players. But it's so much fun to speedrun this game. It's unbelievable. It's also so intense as well. It's just the excitement of seeing things like sub 10 AO and pushing AOR down, getting that sub 30 in Red Heart. That's going to happen. It's
Sub 30.
Kevin really knocked it out of the park. It's probably one of the best things he's done to the game, is just say, I don't care what you guys think, I'm doing this.
Yeah, Genji, the game is really amazing as it is now, and I really don't want it to change at all. Like, just add new stages and stuff or whatever, but please don't change the physics or anything or how it works at all. I want it to stay the same.
I'm really looking forward towards the Ollie stream. That's going to be great fun to watch. And I wonder if that will be the final version then. If that will be it. And the long grind for 10, 35 years, whatever you want to put it, how many years, towards perfection. I'm excited for that.
And my goddamn 9.2 will fall down.
Oh.
Yeah, see, that's the craziest thing about 9.2 is that we know it's not even close to perfect. Like we think it's close, but it's not. We know we're gonna be able to squeeze out frames on top of getting perfect mom and just more optimized movement. Who knows how long it's gonna go or how low it'll get with just what we have now and how long it'll take. But it's really insane still, like the 9.2. I don't think it's going to be beaten for a long, long time. Even if we reset the leaderboard sometime soon, I mean, everybody knows that 9.2 has already happened, and
it will happen.
If you can't beat 9.2, then are you really world record holder? That's how I feel about it. Even if I got like, I don't know, 9.9 or something when the new version came out, and say I have the world record like the second day or something, because I don't know, you're just not playing or something, because that totally won't happen. I'm sure you'll just get 9.5 the first day immediately. But either way, I wouldn't feel like I had world record, like, because it's just not real. Like, if there's a time that's lower than yours and it's already been done, that's what the world record actually is to me. So until someone actually beats 9.2, 9.2 is going to be the best for a really long time, I think.
Well, also add
yeah, although obviously I'm just gonna do it again.
Yeah, I mean, you'll just do it again.
Well, also adding to that, right? If I say right now that sub 9 is possible, right? Both of you are gonna say that's stupid. That's just not gonna happen. But if
it's stupid until it's possible, and then it just happens. I mean, we joked about sub 10 for the longest time, and then one day it just became an ultra real reality where it was very real, and now
even
almost sub
10.4 used to be a meme at the time.
But you see this in the likes of games that have been speedrun for years, like GoldenEye and Super Mario 64, Super Mario Bros. And they say these barriers cannot be broken. This is the limit, and then it's just done. And it's going to be insane hype at the time, and that's what I'm
games like GoldenEye and stuff are very different because they don't have milliseconds, so they go by actual seconds. Getting a run that's an actual entire second faster in a game that's that old and optimized is absolute insanity. Like, I can't imagine that. Like, if we didn't have milliseconds in this game, it would be so boring.
Yeah, the strats are so refined already. everyone would be
Like this
sharing.
whole game revolves around milliseconds being important.
We would probably be externally timing runs if they were no milliseconds, to be honest. Or would it just ask Kevin to add milliseconds?
Yeah, if it wasn't in the game when it first came out, I'm sure he would have just added it for us.
Do you feel, Skoczek, that when full game comes out and the leaderboard is reset, and it's kind of going off what Genji said in the comments, that you want to focus in on one very stage to get that old time back, so like getting that 9.2 back? Or do you think you'll set a good time that gives you the world record and then work on other records or other stages? Would you be more focused?
Yeah, I feel that this 9.2 is going to be a priority after all. I won't just be satisfied with a world record that's worse than what I already did.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I expect nothing less from Sko. Like I definitely expect him to work on AO any percent immediately until he gets 9.2 again or better before he does anything else.
And that's already happened before. My first cycle skip insta diagonal run was taken off from the leaderboards. It got included back later, but nonetheless the leaderboards got reset and the run fell.
I'm so really glad that I got all of those runs back. It took a while, but I made sure they were all back, and then you had it again.
So my 10.7 went off the leaderboards, and I was left with like 10.860, I think. That was a world record for a long while, and and I kept grinding. I kept grinding like hell for a month because it just wasn't satisfying to even have that world record.
So it's safe to say
that was not 10.7.
It's safe to say you'll be going for the 9.2, or even better when the leaderboard eventually resets.
Yes, I think I will be sitting in AO until it happens, probably.
You know, that reminds me, when you lost your 10.7 because the leaderboard reset, I remember literally the same day we added that 10.7 back and added all the old times again. I think Pengu got like a 10.7 that would have been world record like that same day if we didn't add that 10.7 back.
Oh, he just missed out. I remember this, yes. I think it was maybe the day after that.
It was literally the same day, I think.
It was pretty close.
Yes, because the world record was still 10.8. But I really just wanted to get another insta diagonal run because when it happened first, that 10.7, it just felt a lot like I just got lucky, and I couldn't do it if I tried, and and I felt bad about it. That
you wanted to prove it wasn't.
It wasn't really a conscious effort to do that insta diagonal. It just happened. I never even imagined doing it. It felt like a meme back at the time. Like yeah, do insta diagonal. Meta in 2 weeks, and it really was 2 weeks. It was in 2 weeks from that comment, actually. I checked that.
I can't believe that we used to think 10.7 was good with insta diagonal. Like you literally have times without insta diagonal, like mid 10.7s, that are better than my first insta diagonal that was like a 10.762 or something.
Mine was worse.
Like
I remember 774. That was my first one. I'm very sure that was worse than yours.
and
'Cause
that's
I remember.
just how not optimized our cycle skips were.
And it was on 144 frames.
Oh my god, yeah, I can't believe you did that at 144. That's the real thing here. Like I could barely do cycle skip at 144. I think that's the whole reason it took me so long to do my first cycle skip, because it took me over a month.
Yeah,
And
and
then
it took us a very long time to realize that
I did my first two cycle skips on 140, and then I switched to uncapped, and I got 10.9 immediately. And it was just so much easier to do.
So what do you think, what would you like to tell everyone is the best FPS to play on at the moment? Because different answers get thrown around all the time.
Yeah, at the moment it's probably 144 after all.
144 because of SBs, but arguably uncapped otherwise.
Yeah, but it probably also depends on the stage, because the differences are the differences in frames have some various consequences on the stages. For example, on Pekoland, I don't think you should ever play on uncapped. You don't jump as high even, and you need this height for those slides.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain as well FPS does affect that last carrot jump, the fifth carrot up the hill. We should really figure that out. What actually affects
I made a post about this right before we started Smol Cast today, actually, talking about how I think that playing on uncapped versus capped is actually does make a difference. Like even if it's like kind of small, like it definitely does, because I did like I was doing normal runs on 144 and I couldn't even get 12.5. And yes, I know you can get 12.5 on 144. I've done it before plenty of times. But I couldn't do it. I was getting 12.6s every time. And then I switched to uncapped and I got 12.5 every time. And I was playing exactly the same. And just getting a better time for no apparent reason. Which, I mean, it shouldn't be the case, right? Like, why should just playing on 144 versus playing on uncapped make that much of a difference? And I know it's not a huge difference because it's just 12.6 and 12.5, right? But it's still there. I genuinely feel like playing on uncapped just makes the game faster. Like, I know we all feel like it doesn't actually, but I think it does. And we just don't know enough about it yet.
Definitely makes input delay lower, because your inputs only go through on every frame. So yeah, if there's, so it's a difference if there's 5 milliseconds between each frame or 17 milliseconds between each frame.
Okay, yeah. What I said about this was it might not be a huge difference, but I think you have to work a lot harder play on capped than on uncapped to achieve the same results, which is true.
Yes, that's also how I feel. It's just much easier on uncapped. But super bounce though.
Yeah, super bounce. Obviously, you want to play at 144. You don't really want to play any higher than that.
60 FPS. Okay, let's go.
60 is so bad. I feel like even if you did cycle skip at 60 FPS, like something would just go horribly wrong. Like, first of all,
miss
can
danger.
you even do insta diagonal? Can you even do insta diagonal at 60 FPS
Oh, you can. Yeah,
and not fail the danger jump? I don't know.
Oh,
I feel like it would just fail automatically.
I'm not quite sure about yeah, you can do insta diagonal, but not quite sure about doing danger jump on 60.
Yeah, thing is that you can't just go right.
Yeah, you can't hold right, so
So
you're already losing a lot
means,
of time like that.
So that means you're going slower. Because yeah.
Okay, yeah, Shiro, I agree. Like, because I've always said that. I was like the first people to tell everyone that, or I was like the first person to tell everyone that the game's physics run at 200 FPS, and playing at 144 might affect the final time. Yeah, so literally just that little bit that you're not getting. And 144 is not that bad, but 60 is unbearable.
You should cap it at 24.
Oh yeah, 24. Shut the fuck up.
It's the lowest you can go before the game just falls apart at the seams. It just starts decompiling.
I've tried playing on 20 before. You can literally just stand on an edge and then just hold down and you'll BB.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. And you fall over every time you walk from a slide. Like from the ramp on AO, you just walk off from it and you start walking, like basically crawling on the ground.
So before we forget, I want to mention the world records that have happened in the last week. Besides the 9.2, obviously the 9.2 is huge. After that, like it's like what even is anything anymore? But we do have a few world records to talk about. So first we have Scientia taking Bubba Percent and Case Closed Red Heart. Had both of those for 5 days. And then Meeps lowered the any percent time on Red Heart by 3 seconds before also taking Bubba Percent and Case Closed back on Red Heart.
That was
getting the full sweep back. That was insane. And Genji also lowered the Pecoline Bubba Percent world record yesterday as well. So that was cool.
And
if I missed any world records that happened besides that, I'm sorry. I think that's all of them.
Did No get Pop and Rock's case closed, or was that last week?
That was the week before.
That was the week before?
Yeah, he's been grinding any percent. So you can see he has a good second place time because it's 30.805 and then Happy's 30.607, but that's with Instant Mom. So he's just been grinding Instant Mom.
Genji, most computer monitors allow you to cap at 24 because it's the native FPS for TVs back in the day. It's kind of just a standard. Also, one new runner, Medical Kitsune, who has set a PB or submitted their first run during Smol Cast at a 12.9, which is a very good starting time.
We also had a new runner that just joined yesterday who got a 12.5.
I missed that.
Yeah, that's nice progress.
Some of these
Like
records,
it shows that they play on 144.
the what's it called? The progress from everyone getting the times down so low has been pretty good from everyone. Some of these records go completely over your head that you don't even notice.
Yeah, I love seeing people fight for like top 20 now in AO and being competitive. That's fun to watch. And I'm glad new people are joining and like playing the game and everything. And I always appreciate new runners. Like we don't get new runners very often, so thank you guys for being here and playing our game.
Yeah, and even less of them stay.
Unfortunately, yes, but that's just how it is. People come and go.
The best ones stay on to become great. So. Do you want to throw any fantastic final words in there, Skoczek? Razzle dazzle the community.
Yes, I would just like to take a special note of that community effort that we're doing. That it's everyone putting their bricks into to build those times. Like for example, if I didn't lose the world record to Pinky back then,
We would have never seen
I believe the world record on AO would stay at 10.6 until today if I never lost it.
10.5 never would have happened.
10.5 never would happen. 10.4 never would be proven possible, and then I would never try to find ways to include some weird boosted bounces to push that even further. So I wouldn't find super bounce either.
Yeah, I'm glad that something I did could help the game and push it in some way. I know I was basically the only one going for AO any percent world record for a really long time. I think I'm the only one who had it at any point for the entirety of Cycle Skip besides Skoczek. He always had it the entire time for almost a solid 3 months.
Ever since,
and then I got it for once. The first day when Happy got it first.
Yeah, the first day when it was discovered, of course. But as soon as you did it, you had world record after that the entire time. Except for the one time I had it for 2 days. But that was it. And you told me before that you were waiting for me to get world record and then you were going to get 10.5. So I'm glad that I was able to do it, and by doing that you got 10.5, and then everything else that happened.
Yes, I meant that, and honestly, back then 10.5 just sounded like a totally crazy idea, like something that I might not be able to do even if I try for months.
Back then 10.5 was still like the perfect time for us, so the fact that you were able to
Holy Grail
get 10.5 in only 2 days, pretty amazing.
Yeah, because it required a low 10.8 plus an insta-diagonal, both of which I could get like I had only gotten like twice maybe at that point in time. So yeah, if you were telling me to do something that I did twice in my life, and something
Yeah,
else that I also did twice in my life in the same run.
that, and I could tell that you weren't really motivated to push the time any lower by yourself when nobody else was there to compete with.
Yes.
So I'm glad that I stuck with it and grinded it for so long. Even if I only got it for a short time.
It was a huge achievement to knock Skoczek out of it. Even if he came back 2 days later, it was a big deal. I remember it.
Yes, thank you for that.
Yeah, it's still my PB today, that 10.6, and I'm really hoping to do something about that sometime soon. Hopefully get a sub 10, but I tend to be a lot slower at learning new things than other people, so it might be a while. But I definitely intend to get sub 10 and get my own 9.2 or better someday myself.
And then take it off the Skoczek again for another 2 days.
We'll see. We'll see. And I definitely want to thank Skoczek and Happy too for pushing such insane times as soon as like new things are found like this. Like it's so unbelievable to me like how fast you guys can put all of these things into a run this quickly and get like such insane times. And that's like a huge inspiration to me and another reason why I want to keep playing and not give up, because I eventually want to be able to do it myself someday. So thanks for doing that.
It's definitely a motivator seeing a new thing being done, and then it's like, oh, that's really hard. And everyone's saying it's hard. Like when it is hard, and everyone knows it's hard, and you keep hearing that, oh, it could be frame perfect. What if it's pixel perfect? And
yeah, like it's one thing I can't do words. Yes, about
it.
like how low the time can get with like this new thing we just discovered, but didn't actually do in a run yet. But then now that you've actually done like these insane runs, and we know it's possible, and you've actually done it, like that's just such a huge impact, in my opinion. At least on me. Maybe not anyone else, but it definitely is on me, because it just makes me want to do it too.
Oh,
Even though it's by far the hardest thing we've ever had to do in the game so far.
I think it definitely affects everyone. Like seeing everyone saying it's hard, it's like might be frame perfect, it might be pixel perfect. The button impresses are so difficult, and then you have to do 2 of them. But then having Happy and Skoczek do it and show everyone that here you go, this is it. Definitely motivates people and definitely proves that it's not as hard as it always is. Then it's gone for cycle skip as well. Cycle skip, oh, it's so hard, so difficult, and now we have 12 people who have done cycle skip, and there's loads of guides explaining all the different ways to do it, and it's not even considered that difficult as a trick as it used to be when it was first discovered. So having those early runs in, proving that it's easier than everyone is saying it to be, even if it is still quite hard, is definitely a huge motivator for everyone. So thank you, Skoczek, and Happy.
Thanks.
Anyway,
I think that there's a big difference between just doing cycle skip and then doing cycle skip with insta diagonal. So like, I think just doing cycle skip is not that hard. I think you can do it with moderate game knowledge and just a few hours of grinding, and as long as you can play on uncapped and your FPS doesn't suck, I feel like it's not that hard to do cycle skip. But getting a good time with cycle skip is a different story.
Well, Cycle Skip is obviously still a great achievement for anyone who's planning on doing it.
I mean,
who
yeah,
hasn't done
of
it.
course,
Yeah.
of course.
Anyway, thank you everyone for joining us for Smol Cast 3 with Pinky and our special guest Skoczek. Thank you, Skoczek, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Goodbye, all.
Gooby!
I'm horny.
I'm horny.